Greetings. Welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're an old timer. It's Brian and Catherine at Moonstarlodge. We are Indigenous, sitting on the lands, living on the lands in Georgian Bay of the Huron-Wendat, the Anishinaabe, and Métis. And we bring you all things of Indigenous spirituality, arts, and education. So we're on week 2 of working with ancestors, and we're covering the week of April 28th to May the 4th. And before I get to the reading, I have a shameless plug here. We are doing a tarot and oracle ritual class on May the 4th, and it's an online class. Contact me for information through the website, or if you have my email, or in the comments, and we'll PM you. It's a first time for this class in the 40 some odd years we've been teaching, and it's a barn burner. I think you'll come away with a lot of information. Anyway, that at this point, this week's reading covers, we've just stepped into the Taurus mansion. We have walked into the Looks Far Woman mansion, and yeah, it's an interesting time. Can't believe it's going to be May already. Continuing with the ancestor work, as I mentioned in last week's reading, I received information from Spirit about working with ancestors and making sure that we are recognizing how loved we are and how protected we are if we open to that information. And a lot of the times, even if we don't think we can open to that information, that we're not psychically gifted, we do get information in dreams. So this is ancestor decks and decks about dreams and connection with spirit that way. So without further ado, let's go to the cards. So here are the 7 relative tarot. 2 of them are in reversed positions, and I will read them in reversed positions here. And up along the top are 1 card each from the other decks that are clarifying. So the significator here is the devil in reverse. So this devil does look rather naughty. It's about getting hung up in our own vices and kind of wasting time, not seeing the big picture, just not putting the effort in. But it's clarified here by an ancestor card that is quite wonderful. It's objectivity, remaining objective and not falling into traps is what's allowed us to not stay in a place of not moving forward because of shadow stuff. And so this, interestingly to me, this objectivity card, this ancestor, is coming with an act of love. So it is an act of love from our ancestors. We talk about intergenerational trauma a lot in our Indigenous community and intergenerational shadow, but we have to remember there's a balance to that, and our ancestors very much love us and want us to stay objectively on course. And so it is a great act of ancestral love that allows us to not be caught up in anything. So this is about not being caught up when it's in reverse. So that's a good start. Let's move on to the Chariot. So this gives us a chance to go like stink, move forward without pre-thinking or having anxiety about what direction to take or choose. We just do it. We just do it and go full force. And it's clarified here by the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords is a quick thinking, curious, mentally curious being. And this page is all about acquiring knowledge and doing it quickly. It's speedy because we're going at full force. A lot of communication, and this page is looking up. The communication isn't just from the people in this dimension, it is from the ancestors. So they're helping us to see with curiosity and as if we are seeing or learning something mentally new again. So we're not taking old paths and thinking about things in old ways. We are thinking new again, and the ancestors are helping us with the direction our chariot is going. The next card is the Knight of Wands. So again, we've got a lot of court cards, I think, here. We've got the Page of Swords twice, here and here. So obviously that's a biggie. Okay, back to this. So the Knight of Wands is very quick thinking, very do or die kind of going after. Looking right at this Chariot card here, there's definitely support for this fast movement. Making new directions, as it were. Picking up speed, they would prefer that I say, on something we already know we want to do. We've gotten out of non-movement here with the Devil card, and we are now moving forward and moving quickly, but we are expanding. The Hermit clarifies this card from the ancestors. This Hermit is looking down on top of the Knight. The Hermit is about gaining wisdom introspectively, knowing that not everything has to be uber quick, that the knowledge that we are gaining isn't necessarily being shared with the bigger world as of yet. This card, the Six of Cups, was in the very middle, in the same position of last week's reading. This is about looking back with nostalgia and being openly fond and receiving of the good vibes. It's clarified by the High Priestess, who is looking down on these two children. This is the blending the intuitive and the sacred and the unseen, almost augmenting here what we are remembering. So the High Priestess is adding a current spin on what we are thinking about from the past. This is very similar to the idea that came up last week. In fact, last week we had a card drop and Brian picked them up, and as I was turning cards, the ones that had spilled back into the deck, the Magician came up, but his name in that deck is the High Priest. And I asked Brian to douse if it was the High Priest or the High Priestess or both. And he got that it is the High Priestess. But we are the ones making the divine magic, using information that we carry from the past. The Seven of Pentacles is somebody who has learned their trade. They know what they're doing the work, they're spending time, not getting fed up or bored. They're doing it, and it's building. And what it's building is being clarified here by the Lenormand House card. This is our home. This is our foundation. So it's a very practical, foundational, physical thing, an actual house, in the sense of where we live and what we do and being stable. But it's much more than that. Spirit wants us to know that to not just judge the work we do as benefiting us in this dimension. It benefits us in all the dimensions that we exist in. So we're back to this Page of Swords, which showed up here. So again, this Page of Swords is bringing us all kinds of information and more ways of seeing things and doing things differently than we might have in the past. Lots of opportunities for new information. That's what I'm getting. And mental gymnastics, as it were. It's clarified by the card Abandon Worry. Judging what information is coming in and judging whether this new way of doing things, perhaps it is a new way, perhaps it's just an old way revisited, but worry slows things down and it's a very low vibe. If you study any of the consciousness maps out there, you'll know that the actual the brain vibration of worry is very low on the chart. So it's asking us to abandon worry so as not to sully the information or the direction we might choose going forward. This card, the last card, this one is the Four of Cups in reverse. Four of Cups gets stuck with the idea of melancholy, feeling meh, feeling bored, feeling stuck. And the feeling stuck was referred to down here with the Devil card. We're coming out of that, and we are coming out of anything that's meh. But this card is also about taking a step back, taking a meditative break, taking a time away a little bit like the hermit does. So we are coming out of anything meh and moving forward. And that's good, because what's going to come of it, says this ancestor, is finding the path. Everything clears up. So we've got that chariot moving in the direction of the path. We've got what we're building taking us in the path. We are reminded not to worry about a direction that is unknown to us. It's coming up and happening as it happens in the moment without a lot of preordination. We just have to trust that these ancestors are supporting us on the journey. You can flip the camera, Brian. So this is a little more grunt work than last week's reading. It comes across to me as more practical and doable. We can get locked up in worry. I certainly can, hands up, but I get kicked off that pedestal pretty quickly. The older I get, the more I'm able to not let worry win. Anyway, don't forget that rituals class and get a hold of us. Their seats are somewhat limited. We will be sending out PDFs of all the information for the class so you can follow along once registrations have closed. And the sooner you get your registration in, the more assured you are of being part of this fun day. Probably never to be repeated. Anyway, thanks. Give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment, subscribe, all those good things. We thank you for the coffee donations, the e-transfers, the PayPals, the the good things that you do to help support us. We're still making recovery and changes from the big ice storm. Anyway, miigwech, nyawe, aho, peace.